Mm. Cheers, mate. What up, everybody? This is yours truly, Rama Screen, covering movies, TV, and entertainment. Right now is Friday night, um, June 28th, 2019. And I just finished watching uh, the latest episode of Cinemax new show, Jet, starring one of my favorite actresses, Carla Gugino. Funny enough, I just talked about Watchmen with fellow YouTuber John Corona, and as you know, Watchmen features Carla Gugino as Silk Spectre. Um, so anyway, I've done reviews of the first two episodes of this show. You can watch the videos right here on this channel. So I'm here to talk about tonight's season one, episode three, titled Phoenix. All right, so this review is mainly for those of you, my fellow Jet fans who have also watched tonight's episode. So heads up, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. Ugh, I can't pronounce that sometimes. Spoiler alert. All right. Last week, what happened? By the way, I gotta make a quick apology to you guys because last week, I think I said that the name of the guy who betrayed Jet during that heist, her former colleague from previous criminal life. And I said the name was Neil, but I was mistaken. Turns out the character Neil is actually the henchman, or one of the henchmen of Charlie's. He's the guy with the mustache who has a crush on that one redhead, Rosalie. And in this episode, at one point, Neil even like stays outside, or creepily, creepily stays outside Rosalie's house, without actually knowing that Rosalie's ex husband, abusive ex husband, showed up, and he roughed her up a little bit. But it's unfortunate that when that happens in tonight's episode, that Neil doesn't know about it. If Neil had found out, or like if he had seen the abusive husband coming into the apartment, I think he would have intervened, and that would have been quite the scene. If you don't remember, Rosalie is the girl who's, or the woman who had an affair. Well, not necessarily an affair, but yeah, with that gym. Is it yoga teacher? I think it's yoga teacher. Well, Neil broke into her house in the first episode, and he shot that quote unquote yoga teacher in the head. So yeah, whatever. Where am I? Okay, so the name is Neil. The other guy, the guy who betrayed Jet at the end of last week's episode, his name is Blair, and he's played by actor Shiloh Fernandez. I believe that's the name of the actor. So just want to clarify that I made that one mistake um, in my review last week. So after that whole commotion at the nightclub, um, where Blair obviously did not follow the plan, their heist kind of turns to shit. And in this episode, it picks up right at that event, and we see Jet flees. She takes the first car out of the valet, and she drives off. But by this point, she already got shot by Blair, and I thought that Jet was gonna get shot in the face. That last week's episode, it ends with like Blair shooting at her. I thought Blair was like a good aim or a good shot, that at the very least, I thought he would really have really injured her. But no, it was like a grace, I think, on the shoulder, I believe. So he's a terrible shot. um, And in this episode, Jet takes refuge at the apartment of this one girl whose name is Phoenix, hence the title of the episode. Phoenix, I believe she's the same girl who in last week's episode um, helps out Jet by seducing or pretending to seduce the nightclub owner. And then the nightclub owner and Phoenix got kidnapped, supposedly got kidnapped, right? And then they throw Phoenix into this grave, open grave, and they pretended to shoot her, but she's actually still alive. But it's just a way to scare the nightclub owner into allowing them access to their safe, to his safe. So in this episode, we get to see when and where Phoenix and Jet met the first time and how they became friends. And it's a fascinating backstory involving, or that took place when they were in prison. Um, People always tell me, well, not people always tell me. I'll take that back. I take that back. Um, there is a saying, I think, that the fastest way to make a friend, to turn a stranger into a friend or to turn an enemy into a friend, or the fastest way to make a friend is to solve their problem. Um, and it's a lot more, what's the word I'm looking for here? It You hold more power if somebody owes you a favor as opposed to owes you a money or some other object. A favor is a big deal. And so that's what happens in tonight's episode. So Phoenix, I mean, she pretty much messes with the wrong person. You should not pick a fight with somebody like the biggest bully in the yard, especially when you're in prison. I know there's always like people saying like, "Oh, you want to be the boss? Beat up the biggest, guy you see first in a cafeteria or whatever." Um, I don't know if that's a solid advice, but anyway, so she's taking a shower and she's about to get messed up really bad by this one big ass woman that she had a beef with in the cafeteria. And so, man, this gigantic woman was about to, or is about to, jam, I think, a plunger, or the other end of the plunger, the wooden one, I believe, into her asshole or her vagina, whichever, and that would be not good, not good. Um, Jet steps in and pretty much beats up the three women, including the gigantic one. Um, and voila, that's how they met. And apparently, Phoenix is a chatterbox. She can keep talking and talking and talking forever, and Jet is not a chatterbox. Um, and the way Jet reciprocates, the way she returns that friendship to Jet, I'm sorry, to Phoenix, it's not like your typical girl on girl friendship, like, oh my god, yes, remember what we did last time, or like, oh, how do you feel about this, oh, how do you feel about that, oh my god, Brad Pitt is so cute. So it's nothing like girls night out here. It's basically just Phoenix chit chatting, talking, talking Jet's ears out, and Jet pretty much just stays silent. And the few moments that she would say things, she would kind of be dismissive of Phoenix, but not in an asshole way. Um, you might think of it like, wow, how come she's a jerk to Phoenix? How come she's not like more grateful? Um, you're hurt, you're wounded, and Phoenix takes you in her apartment, shows you her gold. She has like a bars of gold. Um, or I think the gold's from the heist, I believe. Well, I gotta double check that again. But anyway, it's like, wow, why is she so dismissive? But that's the relationship that Jet is comfortable of having with Phoenix. And Phoenix is played by this actress named Gaite Johnson. I don't know if I pronounced that name correctly. She's this Dutch-born actress that was in the not movie show Peaky Blinders. Remember Peaky Blinders? I believe that's on Netflix. So I think she's only there for a few seasons, not all of them. So I love this character Phoenix. She describes herself as a prostitute with a heart of gold. I think in her mind, her idol would be like Julia Roberts from Pretty Woman. That seems to be like the go-to, character when you want to describe an escort service or a prostitute with a heart of gold. Um, and Phoenix literally says like, I'm a prostitute with a heart of gold, and like literally holding gold bars in her hands. Um, I like her. She's yes, she can talk your ears out to death. But her heart's in the right place, and I think she genuinely, in her own way, she genuinely cares for Jet. Um, but yeah, she can't shut up at all. Oh, in addition to her being sexy, she's I think she looks incredibly sexy. But that's superficial, of course. But this is a fantastic character. What I don't understand is, as I was watching this episode, right? Because the heist went to shit. Um, oh yeah, I remember now. The bars of gold was in the safe. The bars of gold were in the safe, so that's where they're from. So the heist went to shit, right? And Blair went off with a big chunk of the heist, and I thought that, or at least usually in any show or in any movie, after a clusterfuck like that, usually the boss gets angry, right? In this case, is the Russian guy or the Eastern European guy in Cuba. He would hear about the news and he would be pissed. And usually, textbook wise, he would order um, everybody involved with the heist, the group, to get killed. And that was what happened. That is what happens to, I think, two of the guys, because they want to shut him up. The boss thinks they're liabilities. And so my point is that I thought it was gonna move fast. I thought that Jet was gonna call Maria, and it's like, hey, pack up your bags. You and I and the kid, our kid are leaving, are moving. We're gonna find some safety somewhere. Because usually in other movies or in other shows, that's the first thing that the mobster would do. They would go after their family, right? Either hold them hostage or whatever. Because by this point, the boss has been betrayed by Blair, but they don't know that. They might think that uh, Jet is in on it. So then they would probably. So my point is that in any other scenario, it would have moved. It would move fast, And the first thing that Jet would have done is like, we gotta get out of town. Um, but that's not what happens here. So it's interesting how Sebastian Gutierrez wrote this part or this episode. And so Jet calls Maria. It's like, hey, I'm not gonna be back for a while. Basically, she's saying she's gonna go to Phoenix house to recuperate. And instead of the boss or the mafia, or in this case, the Russian guy, ordering the death of Maria and the kid, or kidnap them, until Jet, shows up or surfaces. Instead of doing that, they just pretty much just monitor the house. That one guy, I forgot his name. I just don't know. I feel like I'm so used to something that's not this. I'm so used to this. All right, there's a double cross, and this is what happens. This is the consequence of you double crossing me. And it'll move swiftly. But I think that is one of the appeals of this show, in that it savors. SAVORS. It dwells in that savor, like, really. It takes its time, but it doesn't drag. Um, there are things happening, though. Things happening, like in today's episode. We see that those two detectives again. They're on the clock. They're on the work. Of course, as you know, they're trying to make this happen with Jet. Jet is cooperating with them to get the two monkeys off her back, who are Charlie and the Eastern European guy. So the detectives, working. And what else? There's some stuff. Okay, of course, Neil, spying on Rosalie, or stalking her, if you will. And so the show takes its time, but it doesn't drag. But at the same time, there are things happening, but it doesn't overwhelm. See, see, that's what I like. That's what I like about Jet. And again, even though it feels kind of funny that the aftermath of the troubled heist doesn't go exactly as what traditionally would happen, you know, like I said earlier, the mob boss would have, like, okay, where's my stuff? I have your family. I have guns against their head, pointed at their head, or pointed at them. Instead of that, it allows this episode allows the show to breathe a little. And I'm sure there'll be I'm sure there'll be opportunities for something more swift to happen in the subsequent episodes. Right now, it's only episode 3, so there are 8, by the way, total. In case you're wondering, so there are still, like, what, 5 more to go. Um, I'm sure it'll pick up. Okay. Lastly, before I conclude my review here, the this is a crime drama, and even though I don't find myself too invested in Maria being the terminally ill girlfriend. I don't know if they're even in a relationship. And the whole thing with the kid, last week with the PTA, not PTA, I'm sorry, her meeting the teacher about the kid. Um, Even though I'm not too invested in that aspect of Jet's life, in tonight's episode, um, I feel also like, at least in the case of Maria, played by Elena Ayana, I feel that there's a part of me that's kind of impressed by her. You know, somebody who is in a relationship, or maybe not necessarily in a relationship, but somebody who's in the same house with a character like Jet, who is a professional thief and works with, or works for, or works with people who can actually kill anybody. That would give sufficient reason for somebody like Maria, anybody who shares residence with a character like Jet, it would give them reason to be fearful, frightened, worried, concerned. And at one point, Maria does kind of show she's concerned a little bit. She's like asking, like, oh, do I need to know the details? Stuff like that. She knows exactly Jet's career of profession or profession of choice, but she doesn't panic. It's not like Maria keeps bringing it up to Jet. I don't know. I'm really impressed, like of how calm she is. She's not worried about that guy that keeps like monitoring their house. Well, she kind of gets worried a little bit because she takes picture of him, but it's not in the usual traditional of like you're expecting the spouse or the partner to be freaking out. Um, but that's not the case here. So it really savors the moments in between, and it's very unorthodox in many ways. The show is, um, in addition to, just like for example, the Cuba heist. That was only like a two-person job. I was like, what? That's pretty cool. All you have is distraction, and then the other guy do his thing. I don't think they took into account that there may have been cameras, security surveillance cameras. I mean, how else would the Eastern European know that they were stealing from him? There's gotta be cameras somewhere in that room. So I guess they were a little naive about that. Um, so yeah, this is a fantastic episode. I like this show so much. Again, I feel bad for Carla Gugino though, because even though she's perfect for this role, and this story, the way Sebastian Gutierrez wrote the character and the arc, it fits Carla Gugino. You know, you can't picture anybody else wearing these shoes um, of Jet. But even though, is despite all that, it's on Cinemax. It's on Cinemax. If it was on ABC or even like HBO, which is of all the paid programming service, you know that's the most popular one. um, and even though Cinemax is actually owned by HBO, it's just that not a lot of people watch Cinemax, man. Not a lot of people watch, and I feel like this show drowns in the many other shows out there this summer. I feel bad because Carla Gugino is a fantastic actress, but no one's seeing, no one, yeah, no one is watching how good she is in this role. um, and it's not like Warrior, Cinemax show Warrior this past season. There's a lot of buzz about it because of the Bruce Lee association. The association with the name Bruce Lee. That's what I mean to say, not Bruce Lee Association. Um, and of course, martial arts. A lot of Everybody loves kung fu fighting, just like that show. But something like Jet, it's a harder sell. Heist crime drama. On top of the fact that it's on a network that not a lot of people buzzing about. People don't buzz about. People buzz about Netflix. When Netflix comes up with a show, it's like a big deal. When ABC comes up with like TGIF or Shonda, whatever, it's like, wow, it's like an event of the year. Cinemax Friday nights, unless it's Warrior, not a lot of people really tuning in. My guess, at least. I haven't seen the numbers. Maybe I'm wrong, but my guess is that she's so good in this role, and it's a shame that nobody's watching it, or not a lot of people watching it, because she deserves a lot more audience than what this show is getting. So that's it. I just want to close with that, and I hope you guys give Jet a shot, a chance. If you can watch it, that'd be great. And if you have watched tonight's episode, let me know your thoughts. Do you agree or disagree with my assessment? Um, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel, press that like button, and ring that bell. And if you can help support this channel, please do so at patreon.com/Rama Screen. I'll be back tomorrow morning, early in the morning because I will be, or I want to discuss the recent big casting announcement, which is Melissa McCarthy is going to play Ursula. Ursula. I can't pronounce that correctly. Ursula. There you go. In Disney's upcoming live action The Little Mermaid movie. I have a few thoughts about that. I want to hear your thoughts about that. So tomorrow morning, about 7 a.m. Pacific time, I'll be back here live streaming to discuss that and pick your brains about Melissa McCarthy as Ursula. All right. So see you guys in the morning. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, go watch Jet. It's a fantastic show. Let's rock this.